Today's story is about a cunning boy who pretended to be mute and deaf to save his life. The nuns living in the convent looked simple and innocent, but behind those white robes were hidden desires, forbidden love, and a past soaked in betrayal. They started making the boy do strange things, but one nun among them was different. This isn't just a tale of survival. It's a story of masks, of twisted power, of love born in silence, and a truth so shocking it'll leave you breathless. Before we begin this unbelievable tale set in one of the most famous countries in the world, tell me in the comments, which country are you watching this video from? Now let's take the story a little back. The story begins in that time in Europe when a disease named plague had created havoc. There was fear of death all around. People were running away from each other. In that environment, inside a church, sat a man named Justin who was painting on the walls. Justin says that his father was a thief and he himself used to steal in childhood. But in those days, the punishment for theft was terrifying. Both hands were cut off. Because of this fear, he quietly started painting. And now, that had become his profession. Now in the next part of the story, we meet Lorenzo, a clever and swift boy who was running for his life from the king's soldiers. The reason was that he had defeated a man with no name in gambling and won a lot of money. But the problem was that the man was not an ordinary person, but a soldier of the royal army. And he couldn't tolerate his defeat at any cost. In that anger, he started chasing Lorenzo. But Lorenzo was no less. He tricked the chasing soldiers and even killed two of them right there. Then one of his friends brought a horse for him and helped him escape. Meanwhile, Justin at the church faced another problem. He had been painting for days, but had not received any money yet. When he went to ask Father for money, he saw that Father had died due to the plague. That's when a cunning idea came to his mind. Why not become the father myself? No one is watching, and no one to stop me. Not only will I get food and drink, but the church's wealth will also become mine. So he immediately puts on Father's clothes and becomes the new father of the church. Princess Temple, in a royal court, stops the nobles and says, "Your father had borrowed money, but sadly he passed away before repaying it. Before dying, he told me to marry you so I could remain safe in the kingdom. But now a new problem has come up. The princess's marriage was already fixed with 55-year-old Prince Alessandro, who was going to arrive in a few weeks." The noble smiles and replies, "Don't worry about him. He will be taken care of too, but if you don't marry me, then you'll have to repay your father's entire debt by yourself." The princess becomes very troubled by this. Actually, the noble was lying and blackmailing her. He just wanted to possess the princess. On the other hand, Lorenzo was still running to save his life from the soldiers. While running, he reached a deserted place where a man was carrying a dead body on his shoulder. Lorenzo asks him, "Brother, which way is the exit from here?" The man replies, "Ahead. There's a convent where many nuns live. I am the gardener there." Lorenzo quickly asks, "Can I do your job instead?" The gardener replies, "Here. Only mute and deaf people are hired." Just then, the soldiers are seen approaching from behind. Lorenzo quickly rides his horse ahead and climbs a tree to hide. Seeing the horse running, the soldiers get tricked and run in that direction. But then, a branch of the tree breaks and Lorenzo falls down unconscious. After a while, a few nuns arrive there. They find him lying on the ground and take him to the convent with them. There, he's laid on a wooden table. Two nuns are watching him closely. There was a strange sparkle in their eyes, as if hiding a secret. One nun quietly says, "We should check if he has any internal injuries." She slowly lifts his shirt but can't control herself and starts touching his body. The other nun also starts doing the same. By now, Lorenzo had regained consciousness, but he was enjoying and pretending to be unconscious. One of them was about to kiss him when suddenly Mother arrives, and both nuns immediately stand straight in fear. Mother says, "This boy is alive. Maybe God has sent him to us." Mother gestures and asks, "Can you hear or speak?" Lorenzo quickly shakes his head to say no. He had figured out that only mute and deaf people get jobs here. Mother becomes very happy. She tells the nuns to feed him good food. This truly is a gift sent by God. Now Lorenzo slowly starts understanding the biggest secret of the convent. Here, mute and deaf workers are kept so the nuns can do anything with them, and they can't say a word to anyone. Now let's take a look at the palace, where Princess Pentaphone Ipania is very troubled by the actions of the noble's children. She calls her two most trusted friends, Elisa and Simona, to the church. Along with them are their boyfriends, Boris and Naidu. The princess tells them, "I need help from all of you. The noble is trying to forcefully marry me and is using my father's old debt as an excuse. But my father had already fixed my marriage with the Russian Prince Alexander." While they are talking, suddenly the noble angrily storms into the church. He shouts, "There is no need for prayers here. Everyone go home." He pulls out his sword and threatens Boris Fernando. He tells his girlfriend to take him away from there. Just then, from above, the voice of Painter Justin echoes in the church. "This is God's house. There will be no bloodshed here. Everyone leave." Everyone considers Justin like a father, so hearing his voice, they all quietly leave. Now the next plan is made. The princess will be hidden. She will be taken to another part of the palace, where later Father Justin will secretly marry her and the prince. Everything will be done in secret, Daja. The next day, the princess is sent in a carriage. The carriage reaches a convent, but it's the same convent where Lorenzo was already hiding as a mute and deaf person. As soon as the princess arrives, a nun gives her special convent clothes to wear. Just then, the princess sees Lorenzo. She asks, "Who is this boy?" The nun smiles and says, "He is our gardener. A very kind-hearted boy, but he can't hear or speak." Hearing this, the princess feels sympathy for him. Slowly, she starts liking him in her heart. Meanwhile, Prince Alejandro of Russia reaches the palace with his soldiers. As soon as he meets the noble, he says, "I have come to marry her." The noble yells angrily, "I am her fiancé. Pack your bags and leave." Hearing this, the prince arrogantly says, "I didn't come all this way just to hear that someone else is going to marry her." Then while leaving the grand palace, he meets a special servant of the princess. What happened next will shock you. To know what unfolded after this moment, comment part 2 below, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss it when it drops.